and opinions expressed in this program are those of the participants and do not reflect the views of BronxNet, the KittyRose lifestyle, or the program underwriters.
This is the movement. The movement.
Saving money.
Okay.
Is to save money.
Why, out of all the things in life, why did you choose that one?
You know, I chose that one because it was something that my grandfather always told me. When we were younger, he would always say, I don't care if it's 50 cents, you save a quarter. If it's $1, you save 50 cents. And he's not here anymore.
Okay.
And that was somebody that I used to go to his house and I read to him my pieces and I'll just talk to him, and he just will always instill great value in his grandchildren.
Okay.
And when you asked me that question, that was the first thing that I could come. That was the first thing that really came to mind.
So I know that that's not something you figured out at 38. When did you get that light bulb moment of, one, I should start saving money, and when you got it, did you start saving money?
Okay, so I want to say I had to be in my 20s because at that time a lot of life decisions had to be made due to me losing my mom at 18.
Okay.
And having to inherit her 3-bedroom apartment.
Okay.
Now, me never being responsible to pay rent, to put food in the household, to all of those things, that's something I've never had to do.
How many siblings do you have?
I have 3 siblings.
Where are you in that?
I'm the baby.
Okay, so why were you left with it?
Because my 2 sisters, they actually moved out. They had already moved out. And because I was the baby, I had my daughter. I had Jasmine when I was going on 17.
Okay.
So you figure Jasmine was not even 2.
Right, okay.
And my mom just was like, you're not going anywhere. You're not going anywhere.
Okay.
So that being said, I was left with mommy. And my older brother was left there as well. But of course, he's a guy.
And that's sad to say, of course, he's a guy. Like, they're not that responsible in comparison to women, right?
But he only stayed with me for a year, and then he left. So I took full responsibility and inherited my mom's 3-bedroom apartment.
And now, so you're in your or early 20s.
Yeah, at this point. Well, I took it over once she passed when I was 18. Maybe 6 months later, the rent was back up.
Right, okay, so you learned a few years later, having been responsible. Okay, now is your grandfather still alive during this time when that light bulb moment came on?
When that light bulb moment, yes, he was still alive.
Okay, so did you start saving money?
I did.
Okay,
I did, and I started by coins, by actually investing in a bank.
Okay,
you know, like a piggy bank or the Crayola, the plastic.
Right. Okay.
And I would put change in there. Okay. I just would always drop any extra change I had. I'll drop it in there. Okay. And from that time today, I would say I'm good at saving.
Nice.
I like to think so.
So you kind of sneaked it in, but not really. I had a baby when I was 17. No.
Yes.
I always feel like I got pregnant because I was bragging, right?
Really?
Because I was 19, getting ready to turn 20, and I had not gotten pregnant yet. And I grew up in the hood, so there was a few girls who were young mothers, and I'm like, I'm 19, I'm doing the thing, I ain't pregnant.
Right.
And I end up having relations with someone, and the first time I had relations with him, I get pregnant. But I feel it's because I was bragging about not being pregnant. But I felt the stigma bothered me being a young 20, and I'm 20.
Wow.
And it bothered me being a 20-year-old woman, girl, pregnant, and then it bothered me all the way up until recently because I married my husband when I was 23.
Okay.
But he got with me and Isaiah when we were like, when I was like, I guess 22.
Mm-hmm.
So since Isaiah was still a baby, everyone, when I moved to the Bronx, assumes Isaiah was my husband's son. And up until last year, I've been separated for 11 years. And up until last year, I didn't admit to the world that my first son was not my husband's son. Because I was embarrassed that one, I had two baby daddies, and that I was a young woman who had a baby out of wedlock. I'm so long-winded, but I say all that to say,
Yes.
I had a stigma at 20. What was that like at 17?
Well, unfortunately, I can't say I had the same
Good.
experience.
Don't be unfortunate. Hallelujah.
Even
Right.
though I got pregnant young, it was my first pregnancy. My daughter's father was 4 years older than me. So if I was 16,
So they didn't
he was
arrest
20
Yes.
at that time. Yes.
Okay.
Well, yeah, because I had it when I was 17.
So that's statutory rape.
And his side of the family, his mom, his dad, they were Hispanic.
Okay.
And when they found out that I was pregnant, it was more or less like, we need her to keep this baby. Like
Okay.
that was their oldest.
Okay.
And they were ready for a grandchild.
Okay.
However, my mom on the other end, she was sick. She was battling, she had HIV.
Okay.
And she was also on dialysis. And because of that, her thing was, I may not be here to help you raise that child.
Oh.
And if you're going to be with him, then why don't you wait? Those were her thoughts.
Okay.
My thoughts were, this is my first time pregnant. I never gone through anything such as an abortion. Like, that's really wasn't an option for me.
Okay.
But I also knew I couldn't have this kid without my mother's blessing.
Okay.
So, in me speaking to my daughter's father at the time, we talked about it, and then we spoke to his parents, and they said, okay, well, we're going to talk to your mom. And they met, they knew who each other were, and they met, and my mom expressed to them how she felt and why she didn't want me to have the baby.
Because of her not being there.
Exactly.
Maybe not being there.
Yes.
Right, okay.
And they said, you don't ever have to worry about that. Your daughter and this baby is going to be fine. We are going to be there to the end of time for her.
And how old is your daughter now?
My daughter's 22, about to graduate with her bachelor's in May.
And would you have said her father's people have stayed in her life?
Absolutely. They're still there. They extended. Cheers.
Yes.
They are awesome.
All right, okay.
You know, and I ended up having Jasmine. And then I had another child 5 years later, about 6 years later.
Okay.
We had a son. And they're
Wow.
still there. So
So they have two grandkids
Yes.
now. Oh, wow.
Yes.
Okay.
She's 22 and he's 17.
Wow. So then, do you mind me asking, is he still in the picture? Is
Absolutely. Actually, let me say this. We are not together.
Okay.
We separated some time ago.
Okay.
However, he raised my son. My son has been living in Virginia with him for going on 4 years now.
Okay.
Yes.
So how old is your son?
He's 17.
So 4 years.
Yes.
How was letting him go?
Oh, it wasn't easy. He went to visit Dad in Virginia, and then Dad was like, can I please just keep him? Because, you know, he's a boy and he needs to be with Dad. And I was like, what you talking about? Because I've always did it. Everything.
I know.
So for me, I was like, I don't know about this. He said, don't worry, he's going to come up there once a month because he had braces at the time. And he was on my plan.
Okay.
He says he's going to come back once a month. We're going to co-parent. And you know what? I must say I'm glad I made that decision. My son is in 11th grade now. He has one more year to 12th grade and graduate, and God willing, off to college, following his sister's footsteps. So I don't regret a thing. And we live, my son, even though he's in Virginia, we still have the best bonds. That's my son.
Right.
That's mommy, you know, and he feel comfortable talking to me about anything. And it's funny because I asked him some questions that maybe like a guy, a dad should ask their son. But no, I'm asking you about sex. I'm asking you about condoms. I'm asking you about diseases. I'm asking
Only
you about
because
anything.
even though they're still there, they're not as detailed as we are.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
My husband, when EJ went off to college, all EJ got was, wear a condom.
Right.
That's it. That was it.
Yes.
That was it.
And they need to know a lot more than that.
A lot more than that. And your baby getting ready to leave. He's senior years next year.
Yes.
So he needs to be talked to now,
Yeah.
like what that experience is going to be like. Oh my goodness.
Yes.
So your daughter's 22. So where is she at going to school?
She currently goes to the University of Albany.
Okay. Oh, so she's up.
She's up.
Okay.
She went to SUNY Delhi first.
Okay.
And
Ooh, party school.
Yes. And she got, yes it is. She got her associates there.
Okay.
And then she said, Mom, I want to experience a larger school, a different atmosphere.
Nice.
And she spread her wings and she went to University of Albany and
Okay.
she's enjoying the experience.
Okay.
And my baby graduates in May and I'm so proud of her.
God, you
Because she
got
was a
it.
struggling student.
Okay.
And to see her, out of all of her friends, be the first to graduate college and to be the first out of my sibling kids, because there's two of them that's older than her. She's the first. It's three boys. Two of them are older. One of them is right under her. She's the only girl. And she's the first to graduate college. So when I tell you I'm ecstatic, I'm ecstatic.
Were her and your mom close?
Yes.
Well, wait, no. So how
She-
how soon or how long after did you actually? Wait a minute. So you lost your mother right afterwards,
pretty
Because now I
much.
had to do the math. So oh my god.
Because no, Jasmine was born in '94.
Right.
My mom died in '98. So it was like 3 years, three and a half years, kind of,
So
sort of, not
How
straight
do
4
you
years.
how do you keep your mother around for your kids?
Oh, my mother's around every day,
Mhm.
all day, just through me and who I
Mhm.
am. My creativeness, it comes from my mother. My
Okay.
sister's creativeness, I'm an author,
Right.
right? A talent that I never knew I had. It was
Okay.
brought out in 2004, right?
Okay.
And
That's 12 years.
Yes.
13.
Yes.
Okay.
my little daughter's an artist.
Okay.
Ryan, she
Mhm.
draws. She has Ryan's flowers. When I look at my sisters and their crafty ways, we all get that from my mother.
Mm.
And one thing about my mother, she was a drug addict, right?
Okay.
And she used needles.
Okay.
My mother would wear the spaghetti straps. She was never ashamed of who she was.
Okay.
She had bunions. She would wear thongs, flip flops, something I'm never going to do. However, my mom, everybody loved Miss Vanessa. All my friends. The holidays, my mother would take not just us, our friends, to the pancake house. She would develop these little groups for us, the Five Fresh Foxes, me and my sisters and our two friends across the hall. When I tell you, everybody knows Miss Vanessa. She left a lasting impression on so many.
Okay.
And when I look at myself in the mirror, I'm like, oh my God, my mother all over again, because she was so giving. Her doors was always open. She would feed you. You need a place to stay. Come on in. That's just who she was.
Where's your dad?
I lost my dad at 14 to cirrhosis of the liver. So he passed away first. I was 14. And then at 18, I lost my mom. So pretty much we were on our own. We were on our own.
I'm stuck.
And I can't be proud of myself enough, because through all of those trials and tribulations, those adversity, I made it.
Yes.
Right? I beat the odds.
Yeah,
Not just me,
right,
but my daughter.
Right.
And when I look at myself today, I'm a homeowner. I have 3 beautiful children, one who's graduating from college again in May. My son, who will be in high school next year. My daughter, Ryan, who is in private school, but also has her own company, Ryan's Flowers. I have my master's in social work. I'm a 2-time author. I'm a community organizer. My first walk, my first self-esteem awareness walk, coming Sunday, June 4th, right here in Harlem. We're forming in front of the State Building, walking up chanting to 135th Street and St. Nicholas Avenue. And you get there, we'll do the spill. And then hopefully there'll be a basketball tournament. So when I look at myself and I think about my life, I'm blessed. And I'm thankful every day.
Amen. Think you made it. How do you think you did it? Because your mother was an addict.
Right.
So how did you, that's genetic, how did you avoid that? Did you avoid that? Like, how were you able
Well,
to
you know
make it?
what? Through my mom's struggles, because I'm going to say they were struggles, right? Through her struggles, my mother was the bomb. Do you hear what I'm telling you? She kept a clean house.
Okay.
She always kept food in the house.
Did you know she was an addict?
Yes.
Okay.
And she's the sniff coke. I found cocaine.
Okay.
I used to hold it.
Okay.
Thinking that if I held it, she won't use it.
Okay.
At times I've given it back. You understand? And my strength comes from all of that. My dad used to beat on my mom. He was very abusive to my mom. I had to repeat the 3rd grade. And more so repeat the third grade, not because I couldn't keep up with the work, but because I missed so many days due to the fact of me feeling like if I'm home with mom, he won't hit her, right? Because there were many a days they would come pick me up from school, and I was the one that they wouldn't take straight home because they knew the impact it would have on me. But I think looking at all my mom's struggles just made me have a different outlook on life and not wanting to go down that road, especially the path of drugs. So I sway far away from that.
Being the baby of the four, did your siblings also make that like issue in their head, like we're making a conscious effort to stay away?
Absolutely. Absolutely, all of us. I mean, out of the four of us, three of us are homeowners. You know, something that our parents weren't, but a lot of people in our family are. We come from family that believe in owning things, you know. So we all doing well for ourselves. I would like to say.
So what do you? So do you feel like you're like? Because then your kids have a struggle, but then they don't have a struggle. If that makes sense.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? Because it's like you still have such a kind of focused parent. And how's their dad? Is he kind of focused? Is he driven? Like, I know he's there, but is he like?
Well, you know what?
I want Spanish or
right.
Latin.
Oh yeah, but they was raised in our era. So even though they're Spanish, they think they're black. Let's say that. And I would have never allowed my son to go with his father if I felt like he wasn't capable of taking care of his son. So, and the fact that I had such a hold on my son in a sense, like even though he was there and I'm here, just a phone call away.
That's it.
So me speaking to my son daily, it still instilled certain values that he knew he had to practice. So he's not going to go left or go right. You know, me and Dad, we kind of was on the same page. We bumped heads in a sense because I feel like he's strong on my son, but he's not. You know how like something could be done very tediously. You know how like a parent could be on micromanaging their kid. He gave him just a little bit more room than maybe I would have.
I think fathers do that.
But he's still on him. You understand? So maybe when it comes to that aspect, I probably be like, I don't know, you shouldn't have let him do this or that. But for the most part, my son is still good. My father was very strict. To a sense of, we had a chalkboard. And I'll never forget the day I wrote on a chalkboard. And I put a curse word in there. And he came home from work. And I forgot to erase it before he came home. And he said, Narissa, come here. What is this? And I was so scared, right? And I think I got a whipping that day because of that. He was very strict. So I know if my dad was here, I always said I wouldn't have had any children because of the fear that he instilled early on within us. However, when it comes to like daddy issues, I would say in relationships, I feel like, I don't know if this had to do with my character or my tolerance, but I felt like sometimes I took on things longer than I should have. Maybe staying in a situation longer than I should have.
I don't know if that's a daddy issue.
Right. And that's my thing. You know, so, and I think just trying to figure out relationships and figuring out, well, how much is too much, you know, or, they did that. And then they did that again. I would say cheating, right? And they did it 3 or 4 times. Okay, how long does this go on? How many chances do you?
So you'll do it.
Right. So when it comes to that, I think I probably would have liked to have my dad here to be able to talk to him about those things, you know. So
did your grandparents stay together, or were they separate?
They were together for years. I mean, till their kids got older. I think for a while my grandmother probably wanted to make change early on, but she was seeing that her last child, which they had 5 children, is off to college before she decided to move on.
Did she?
Yeah, she eventually moved on, but she stayed married to my grandfather. So my grandfather passed away before her, and my grandmother's still alive. She's still living. She's now in Florida because she's suffering with early dementia, so my aunt takes very good care of her. And I was just actually out there for the summer.
Someone told me just today, it's so funny. They said the dementia is really only hard on the family. It's not hard on the person because they don't know.
Exactly. Yes.
I was like, well, that's real.
Yes.
But I was like, ew.
What I see with the early dementia is like they're reverting back to child,
Right, that's
being a
what it
baby,
is.
almost like a little kid.
Is that hard on your aunt?
She was a registered nurse.
Okay.
So for her, like when she lost her brother, which is my uncle, my aunt came and wrapped his body because he passed away on our couch. Her skin is so thick that I couldn't see nobody else taking care of my grandmother but her. Going and seeing how she navigates and really, really take care of my grandma. We went to Aruba in the summertime for my cousin's wedding. She brought my grandmother.
I know, that's right.
She had my grandmother in a wheelchair. She had the bag.
Okay.
I'm looking at her like, and she's no young. She's 60 something herself.
Okay.
But when I tell you, she does such a wonderful job, and I mean, I don't know if I could do it. No, I don't know if I could do it.
So the author came out when, and you said you didn't know. Do you think you've always been a writer then?
So I knew I always wanted to tell a story, right? But I wouldn't quite say a writer.
Okay.
And I worked for this nonprofit organization called Praxis Housing Initiatives, and I used to run women's groups. And in running those women's groups, they hired a consultant, and she came and they said, "Well, ask Miss Jenkins because they know me. I'm fine with allowing people to join my group, and plus week after week, how much do I have to say?" Which I really wish I would have valued those groups more now because of everything that I'm doing. And sometimes you need those guinea pigs to see how your whatever you're gonna do is gonna fly.
Flourish or not, right?
Right.
Be accepted or not, right?
Exactly. So she came in and she did this therapeutic exercise by telling us to draw something.
Okay.
And then she went around the room. She said, "What kind of music do you like? What kind of music do you like?" And I said, "I like R&B." She said, "Okay, we'll write something." And that's one of my very first pieces, R&B soul.
Okay.
And from then on,
I
learned that every time I had an experience, I wanted to write because it felt so good to express myself when she asked me about music.
How old are you at this point? Because you're an adult woman, you're in the workforce.
Right. That was in 2004.
Okay.
38.
Is anything crucial going on in your life? Like, did you end a romance? Are you starting a romance? Like, was this something flooded out?
Well, let me say this. I think that I was the type of person that held things in. I would really express what I'm feeling. So a lot of things came out. Like even a piece about my mother. I have extraordinary. My mother, extraordinary. That's what.
So then, are you a poet?
Yes.
Okay.
I can spit something.
Okay.
Have you heard the play Poor Girl, Rich Girl?
No. I feel like I have, but I don't want to lie.
Well, I've been in that play for now 3 years.
So you're an actress also?
Yes.
Okay.
And I'm in a web series called Bum Rush.
Okay.
So yeah, I do a little.
So, but the books that you've had published are not poetry books because when I met you, so what's the book that it's like the young girl's journal or diary?
Right. So Mysterious Me is a book of poetry.
Okay.
It's individual pieces.
Okay.
The Live, Love, and Confidence is a guide to building self-esteem in girls and young women. And that's a collaboration of short stories.
Okay.
I created the two.
And these short stories are real short stories.
Not all of them. Okay. To me, I would like to say they're based off of something, whether that be a TV show, whether that be a magazine, whether that be people that I maybe had encountered with.
Okay.
But I wouldn't say that they're actually real stories, all of them.
Okay.
You know, I take people experiences and I can twist it and put it inside of and make it a good read.
Who was your first audience to see if the book was good? Was it your kids? Did you let them read it first and say, "Is this good?"
Well, actually, my oldest daughter, I had, and actually Miss Ryan, the little one, I was giving them different stories.
Okay.
And seeing what they felt. But it gets better. I was asked to come and speak to some kids because they were fifth graders and they were having some issues, arguing, gossiping, being bullies to each other. And someone asked me to come in to speak to these young girls.
Why did they ask you?
Because they knew I was writing this book.
Okay.
And they know I'm good with that.
Okay.
I go around. This is one of the 4th year that I've been going in and out of schools talking to kids and for career days.
What were you doing at Watley? The last time I saw you?
I was in there for the rehearsal for Poor Girl, Rich Girl.
Got you. Okay.
Yes.
And it's funny because we met being invited to come talk to young people.
Yes.
Right. Okay.
Yes.
So wait.
Right.
So
exactly.
So not to like change the subject.
I was a part of that.
So who does your hustle? Who does your marketing? Like, how are you getting all these people inviting you places?
You looking at her.
Okay.
You are looking at her. I grind. Now, I'm a social worker. I've been working for the city. March 5th made 10 years.
Okay.
I've been a city worker.
So you're a city
social
worker. That's
worker.
a full-time job.
Yes.
That's kind of crazy hours.
Yes.
And you're a full-time mother.
Yes.
Even though little man is down south, you still
Yes.
got 2 girls. And you still got him.
Yes.
So when do you fit the time to do 50,000 speaking engagements?
I'm a scheduler. Let me just say
Okay.
that. I never take on too much that I can't handle.
Okay.
So when people ask me to come out or be present for certain things, I look in my book and I'm like, all right, I'm available this day.
Mm-hmm.
And I kind of schedule things because I do take on different things, but only if I can manage it. I would never run myself ragged.
You've never run yourself ragged?
Well, I want to say I worked for Practice Housing Initiative, and it was a lot of work. And I think it was more work than it needed to be because it was a nonprofit organization, and they constantly made changes. And because a lot of their work wasn't in the computer,
I get
it was
that.
like a lot of writing.
Okay, so I guess what I'm trying to get at is has the smart. And no diss to non-smart people, but you seem smart and together. And I feel like, what are you not sharing? Like, is it really that? Are you really that much of a planner where, I kind of made the decision in my life that I want to do this, I want to do that, and this is what I'm going to do, and this is what I'm going to do.
And it is very true. I mean, I'm going to just say that sometimes listen, everybody goes through something, right? But I've learned so much from my grandfather, from my mother, from relationships. You understand? To the point, by the time 2014 came and I was ready to drop this book, I kind of had things figured out. I lined things up for myself. And one of the things that I had to think about is how am I going to make things easier for me and not harder? What am I going to do differently than I was doing before when I was stressing, right? And by me, life experiences happen. And that's why I'm able to be this person that I am, honestly. You know, I do not allow certain things or people to stress me out. And not that I just get rid of situations. No, I look at it and see what the situation is, and I learn or figure out how I'm going to deal with it. I don't let the situation get the best of me. I get the best of the situation. Right? And I think a lot of people need to learn how to do that. You know, a lot of people let things wear on them. Physically, mentally, and they don't know how to push forward through that situation. I was going through a rough relationship at one point in time in my life. And my friends, and they would look at me and say, oh my God, how are you looking like this? Why are you so calm all the time? And this and third. But I never forget a time that I was in my house and I had got upset with my kids. I was like, go sit down or whatever because I'm upset with him.
And I
sat in my living room one day and I promised, I made a promise to myself. I said, you will not allow anyone's behaviors to affect you in a way that brings you out of character. And when I made that decision, I made it for a lifetime. Do you hear what I'm telling you? So not a relationship with a male
or anything
or anyone can put me in a place
How old
where...
were you then?
I bought my house, I closed on my house in 2008.
Okay.
8, 9, 10, 11. Maybe about 2012. Maybe about 2012. You know, I made a promise to myself that I'm not going to allow my mind to be clouded by anything that's not healthy for me.
Are you one of those people
This is the movement. The movement.